Eres eventually.
Bega manipulate nothing.
Ali jawa yun mo kasi. Kasi tayo kito inyo amera ko.
thank you enough for everything you've done for me and for our cause.
We have a lot more to do.
Yes, we do. Both of us.
It's time. Brother Benjamin's making the introductory remarks.
Thank you.
So good evening, school leaders. I think in the interest of time, we will be starting shortly. My name is Martin Kisilu from KEMI. So I want to invite all of us to this insightful discussion. It is a public forum organized specifically to share insights about the CBC Career Pathways. So in the interest of time, we would suggest that we give our colleagues like around 3 minutes to join and we start our session. So we shall be starting shortly. Kindly to ensure that your bundles are not, you spend your bundles as appropriate. Kindly, you could also be actually putting over your videos. This will ensure that at least you remain afloat for the entire period of our session. For those I can see in the chat forum, they are talking about bundles. One of the ways in which you can ensure that you save on your bundles is to put off your video. And if you still can afford to be on your video, then still fine. So we will be starting our discussions quite shortly. So let's give our colleagues a few minutes to join, and then of course we start our session. Karibuni sana, and once again feel appreciated for finding time to be with us during this particular session. Once again, welcome. So, colleagues, we agreed to start at exactly 3 minutes after our discussion, and therefore we feel it's in time that we start our session. I would like to possibly call upon my colleagues who are on board to introduce themselves before introducing our guest speaker this evening. So I want to call upon my colleagues to say jambo to our school leaders before we start our session. So over to my colleagues from KEMI to say jambo to our colleagues this evening before we start our session. We can start with Dr. Grace. Possibly you can say who you are and the division you are working for in KEMI.
Good evening, colleagues. I am Dr. Grace Gatundu in KEMI, Deputy Director in charge of admissions and certification. Karibuni sana.
Thank you, Daktari, for that. Our other colleagues on board, including ICT and our colleagues from research as well.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicole Mwende, and I work for the ICT division at Kenya Education Management Institute. Karibuni sana and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Nicole, for that introduction.
Good evening. Good evening, participants. My name is Aquila Mudome Kenyo, ICT officer at KEMI.
Thank you, Aquila, colleagues. For action as well.
Good evening. I'm Samuel Monove, working at Kenya Education Management Institute at ICT Division. Thank you, Bwana Kisilu.
Thank you, Sam. Dr. Charles, I can see you are on board.
Thank you very much, Kisilu. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Mwanza Charles from KEMI in the Research and Consultancy Division. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari, for that introduction. Dr. Stephen Barkwan.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Stephen Barkwan, Deputy Director Training at KEMI.
Thank you, Daktari. Simon, I can see you are on board. Simon Gatia. Simon Gatia, you can now speak. Simon says he's not able to unmute. Perhaps Aquila, you could see how our colleague Simon can be able to unmute.
Okay, I think it's done now. Good evening, everyone. My name is Simon Gatia. I work for the Kenya Education Management Institute in the Research and Consultancy Directorate. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you very much, Simon. We also have a colleague who actually works with us as a partner, and that's Rispa Mumbe. Rispa, kindly introduce yourself. Rispa, kindly unmute. Aquila, you could see also how Rispa could also unmute and possibly say jambo to our school leaders. As Rispa unmutes, then of course we could also invite another colleague who is on board before we start our session this evening.
Good evening. I'm Shadrach Simiyu from Research and Consultancy Department.
Asante sana Shadrach for being on board. Other KEMI staff who are on board, kindly in the next 2 minutes, so that at 5:50 we start our session. Rispa, were you able to unmute? So then thank you, colleagues, and perhaps we could have an opportunity later during the plenary where our colleagues could also introduce themselves. At KEMI, we offer capacity development for school leaders in Kenya. We are the capacity building agency of the Ministry of Education in Kenya. And this evening, we are delighted to share with you a public forum, ideally a discussion that will entail insights on insights on the CBE Career Pathways. Of course, you know that we are in a new curriculum dispensation, and this curriculum reform, of course, has quite undergone quite a number of developments in every level. Currently, now we are talking about the senior school, and as we make our journey towards senior school, definitely we are supposed to ensure that we guide our learners on the various pathways that they ought to, of course, follow based on their interests, based on their strengths, and based on actually their abilities. Because with the competency-based education, ideally our focus is to ensure that we nurture the potential of every learner. So this evening, we are delighted to have a guest speaker, Michael Juguna, who is an education expert and a CBE facilitator. Remember, we are now talking about competency-based education. And this evening, we are delighted that we will be joined by our guest. We've been joined by our guest speaker, none other than Michael Juguna. Michael Juguna is an expert we collaborate with. He works for Graviton CBE Center in Nairobi. And Juguna will be sharing with us insights on how the CBE Career Pathways look like, or her in detail. And it is for this reason that we have invited you for this public forum, so that, of course, we could share ideas, we could share what we have, you could also share with us what your thoughts are about the career pathways, so that even as we move forward, that as an institute, we could also see how best we can also continue building your capacities in terms of the gaps that exist as we advance or as we walk a journey towards the senior school. My name is Martin Kisilu, just like the others have done the introduction. I work for Kenya Education Management Institute in the Directorate of Research and Consultancy as a Deputy Director in charge of quality assurance. So we want to take this opportunity now to welcome our colleague, Bwana Michael Juguna, to start us off and share with us what we've prepared for you this evening. So karibu sana Bwana Michael, and share with us your discussions this evening. Over to you, Mike. Aquila, ensure Mike is unmuted. Hello, Bwana Michael. Yeah, as we wait for Michael to join, we've been joined by our colleagues Bwana Choge and Madam Paris. Perhaps you could also introduce yourselves as we wait for Mike to join us.
Good evening, colleagues. I'm Choge Stephen, as you've been told by Deputy Director Bwana Kisilu, in Education Management Division, Directorate.
Thanks so much, Bwana Choge. Madam Paris.
Everyone, I trust we are all doing well. I'm Paris Kiprona. I work with Kenya Education Management. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Paris, for that introduction. So we want to believe that, Mike, you are ready now, and perhaps you are unmuted. So kindly take over. Bwana Michael, if you can hear me kindly, let me know from your end.
I can hear you from my end. I'm trying to. Good evening.
We can hear you, Bwana Michael. Yeah, it's like Michael has indicated that he's trying to set up. So kindly, once you are ready, you could alert us from our end. Yeah, now you can now talk with Bwana Michael. We have unmuted you from our end.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Bwana Chair, for this opportunity. Sorry for that hitch. We had a little sound issue. Allow me to take this opportunity to welcome everyone on board. My name is Michael Juguna, teacher, a CBC expert and facilitator at Gravity CBC Resource Center. Welcome on board. Today we have this forum so that we can put our minds together and discuss the issue that is proving to be a challenge maybe to some or to many outside there, the issue about the pathways. But before I continue, or I start with the discussion, allow me to recognize the presence of my CEO, Bwana Duncan Alemi. Maybe you can say hi.
Good evening. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Bwana Duncan.
Oh, good evening and welcome. Duncan Remy is my name. And I trust that this is quite a very fruitful discussion. And we welcome you all on board. Thank you.
Thank you for that. My name is Michael Jugona, a CBC trainer, facilitator at Gravity CBC Resource Center. Gravity CBC Resource Center is a resource center that mainly aims at equipping runners, parents, teachers, and other education stakeholders with insights or education expertise in matters to this CBC. Gravity CBC Resource Center work with other government education stakeholders. That is the KICD, the Ministry of Education. We have the KEMI. So we are not independent on our own. We collaborate and work together with other departments of education in our country, Kenya. So today we have an opportunity to share as proponents of CBC. When I say proponents, I mean we are here to discuss matters to do with CBC as teachers, as KEMU personnel, education, other education experts, and any other person in the meeting. So karibuni sana is an open forum for us to share insight. And my hope and my prayer is by the end of this session, we'll have benefited one way or the other. Thank you. Allow before I start, I recognize the Kenya Education Management Institute for seeing it worth to organize this meeting for us to talk one or two about CBC. We say the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. By that I mean, we are talking about the issue about pathways. But before we talk about pathways, pathway is just but one component of the CBC. We cannot start our discussion with the issue of pathway. We have to ask ourselves, what is this pathway? How is it related to CBC? How is it related with CBE? So allow me to take you back before we discuss about the pathways, the pathway issue. We get to discuss issues to do with CBC, CBE, and other components that are related to the same before we come to the pathways. I would like to share my screen so that we can read from the same page. On the screen, as you can see, we have the Gravity CBC Center, which I've said is a resource center in Nairobi with two branches, one along Eastern Bypass and the other one in Langata, that aims at equipping the runners, the teachers, parents, and other education stakeholders by empowering them in matters to do with CBC. Pathways, as I've said, is one of the components of CBC. But before we discuss about the pathways, allow me to take you back to CBC and CBE concepts. That is the Mr. Jugona speaking to you. Then we have our center there. Then we have the concept. We are discussing about the CBE, but before you had the CBE, we had the CBC. I would like us to know or to take note of the two terms, competency-based curriculum and competency-based education. It is good to note that when you talk about CBE, the competency-based education, we are talking about a running approach that tends to aim to equip the runners with the knowledge, skills, and other competencies, not necessarily looking at the time or the end of the program. We are interested at what a child can learn or can acquire at his or her own pace. It is a learning approach. That means for us to implement CBE, it cannot start on its own. That's why the CBC comes in. CBC is a framework or a structure that has the components that are implemented by the CBE. So when we talk about the CBE and the CBC, we cannot talk about one without the other. One of them is an approach, the other one represent more so of the structure. So competency-based curriculum, as you can see from your screen, we are talking about a student-centered curriculum in Kenya and some countries in East Africa. Remember, CBC is not only in Kenya, but as we're discussing here, we're discussing as Kenyans, but it's good to note that there are other countries in our continent, Africa, that are still doing the CBC. But in our country, Kenya, we are talking about a curriculum that aims or focuses on developing the knowledge, the skills, and other competencies to the runners for them to be able to cope with challenges, or for them to be able to cope with challenges of 21st century. That's why CBC is here with us. So I believe with that, we are reading at par. We can be able to understand the meaning of CBC and the meaning of CBE. That's it. For us to talk about pathways, allow me to highlight a few concepts about the CBC. We cannot talk about the pathways without first reflecting on the main guiding pillars of CBC. By guiding pillar, we mean we cannot talk about a curriculum if we are not talking about the vision and we are not talking about the mission. When I talk about the vision, I'm referring at the wrong end goal. What do you want to achieve with this curriculum, 17 or maybe 20 years to come? What is that we are aiming at? It's the wrong goal. It's the destination at the end of the journey. That is the vision. CBC vision, we are talking about producing an engaged, an empowered, an ethical citizen. By this, we mean a citizen who have been actively engaged in the running process, empowered with the right information, ethically means in the right way. So that is the guiding vision of the CBC. How do we achieve this vision? The vision, you're talking about a big journey or a long journey to a faraway destination. But for us to get to this destination, we must ask ourselves, what are we going to do? For us to get into this destination, we are guided by the mission. Mission are the steps that we are supposed to follow or take periodically or every day for us to achieve the vision. And our mission I'm talking about here is nurturing every runner's potential. That means in the framework of our current education at the CBC, we are interested with individual runners. And hence, the issue of pathways coming in. We are directed by the uniqueness or the dependency of the different potentials in different learners. The teacher is not actually interested with the whole group in class, but rather interested or in nurturing each and every learner in that particular class, nurturing every learner's potential. So it's good to note the vision and the mission of CBC as we continue with our discussion. That being the case, we have to ask ourselves a simple question. Why CBC? Initially, before we had the CBC, we had the 844 curriculum. And at a point, the demands of our economy could not be met by the products of 844. And it's after the evaluation of the same that the government decided to scrap the 844 and bring in the CBC. One of the main reasons why the CBC was brought in was the government wanted to produce a holistic child who is able to cope with the challenges of each and every day life that could not be met by the 844. By that I mean, we usually say that 844 was mainly focusing on knowledge with less emphasis on practical skills. So when CBC was brought along, when CBC came in, we have to ask ourselves, what are are we going to do? What are you going to do for us to produce a holistic child? I want you to note the goals of CBC. CBC is here so that we want to produce a holistic, well-rounded individuals or citizen while promoting self-employment, innovation, and entrepreneurship. That is the goal of CBC. Not forgetting to mention, it was brought by Kibaki government in the year 2017. Okay, sorry, for the CBC, the CBE, we want to produce that. By that, I mean, as a teacher or a facilitator who is taking the runners with the CBC, you have to ask, or we have to ask ourselves a simple question. What is this that we need to equip our children with in order for us to produce a holistic child? We are not limited. We are not limited to the knowledge. For us to produce a holistic child in CBE, in a competency-based education, we not only are supposed to equip the runners with knowledge, but we're also supposed to equip the runners with the right skills, the values, the right attitude. So we are aiming, we don't want to have a product at the end of 17 years in senior school. We are talking about a child who is half-baked with information, that is knowledge, but does not have the values. If we started to mention, if you look at the biggest challenge we're having in our country, it's not about people who are not learned. We are talking about the value-based system. It is not the way it's supposed to be. I will not call it corrupt, but I would say it is wanting the product we are having. And these are some of the things we are asking ourselves, what are we going to do so that we produce a holistic child? So in CBE, we are looking at ways in which we are going to team up and produce a holistic child who has got the right information, that is knowledge, the right values, the right attitude, and the skills to cope up with the challenges of the 21st century. So that's what, in short, I'm referring to as the domains of running in CBE. We have the values, as you can see from your screen. We have the skills that we are supposed to equip these runners with. We have the knowledge, which was mainly emphasized in CBE in 844, but in CBE, it is just a component. Then we have the right attitudes. I'm not going to go into details about the different aspect of each. That one can be discussed maybe on a different forum when you're having interactive training, because Gravity CBC Resource Center conducts this training. But because today we are mainly focusing on a discussion, we are just going to highlight some of this issue. But in case we need further interactive training, Gravity CBC Center is a place to be or to come and seek such an initiative. From the domains or the foundation of CBE, we have what we call the core competency. The core competencies, or rather the skills of 21st century, is when the teacher is in class, what am I supposed to ensure that my runners are able to know, on top of the knowledge, on top of the skills, on top of the attitudes, on top of the values? Do they have the skills of 21st century? These are the ones you're calling the core competencies. If you can look at them clearly or closely, you realize in 844 we never had such like competencies. This is a new concept that has been brought about by CBC. All, if they were there, they were not addressed. But with CBE, we are very keen. All core competencies is one of the core areas that a teacher or the facilitator should make sure that the competencies are nurtured. Remember, you're talking about nurturing learners' potential, and not forgetting that these competencies, they are intertwined or they are ingrained in the concepts that are taught every day. They should be taught hand in hand. There's no time for us to talk about that we are teaching about creativity and imagination today, or we are teaching about citizenship today. These are competencies that are ingrained. Ingrained means it's like we are cooking food. The salt is there, the other ingredients are there. You cannot teach them independently. They are incorporated with the other concepts that are being taught in class. So it is good for the teacher or the facilitator in question to be aware of all these competencies. And I usually say, you can only give what you have. As a facilitator, as a teacher, do you have these competencies with you? Do you know what we mean by self-efficacy? Do you know what we mean by communication and collaboration? Do you have the skills of integrating these competencies in your everyday lessons, in your everyday activities? I think that's a bit rhetoric. I can only leave it for us to discuss later. Allow me to mention one thing, pathways. When you talk about pathways, that is our main topic of the day. I cannot talk about pathway without talking about the CBC structure. Because pathway is not a concept that is coming up at grade 10. We need to agree, all of us, or we need to understand why the pathways. Remember the CBC framework, the CBC framework, the competence-based framework has got 4 levels. We have got the pre-primary level, we have got the lower primary level, we have got the upper primary, we have the juniors, we have the junior school, and we have the senior school level. Why am I talking about these levels? It is in these levels where the foundation of pathways came in. When I mean by foundation, I mean in the first level of CBE, the structure itself, the pre-primary level, the teacher in question introduced 5 learning areas. The 5 learning areas formed the basic or the foundation of the pathways. Only for these learners to go to lower primary, for the learning areas to move from 5 to 7. The 7 learning areas that you're talking at lower primary level are the foundation or the backbone of these pathways. We are not going to talk about any other learning area, whether we go to senior school or we go to tertiary level. They just become extended. So as we talk about pathways is not a concept coming in at senior school. We are talking about lower primary, 7 learning areas. And by the way, it's good to remember that CBC, before it became CBE, we never had the PP1, PP2. We started the grade 1. So that's what we're talking about, the lower primary, the 7 learning areas. In the lower primary, they did the 7 learning areas. When they went to upper primary, the 7 learning areas became 8 learning areas, and they are all related. Then in junior school, the 8 learning areas increases and becomes 9 learning areas. Only for these 9 learning areas to get into senior school and becomes 38 learning areas. So what you can see from your screen is how all these learning areas are linked for us to talk about the pathways. Initially, we're talking about the early years, but that is the pre-primary levels combined with the lower primary, where you have the 7 learning areas. Majorly, we call them the learning activities because much of this action, they are activities that the learners do by doing. And remember, let us remember that the main goal for the learners in early years is interaction, is for these learners to gain interaction skills. That's why most of the learning areas, we are calling them activities. The main goal there, we need the learners to interact. From the early years, we get to see what happens to these learning areas from lower primary to upper primary and the way they are linked. We are not introducing anything new. The creative arts, you can see the creative activities becomes the creative arts, the English activities becomes the English, the Kiswahili is there, the religious activities. You can note one learning area there, environmental activities, that on reaching the upper primary level, it is branching off or it is integrating and becomes 3 independent learning areas. But it is not a new concept that we're introducing. The social studies that is being taught in grade 4 was once taught at the environmental activities, our flag, our school, etc. The agriculture was once at the environmental activities, the food we eat, the animals you keep at home, kitchen gardens, and the like. We talk about science and technology. They were talking about personal hygiene. They were talking about domestic hygiene. All these were concepts that were taught under environmental activities. So when they get to grade 4 or upper primary, we are not introducing new concepts. They just become independent and they integrate into 3 new running areas. Mathematical activities remain to be. What is our main focus in upper primary? We are changing from interaction to socialization. That is the main focus for the children at the upper primary section. From there, we get to see how the upper primary section is linked to junior school. The junior school has 9, the creative arts and sports, the English, Kiswahili, religious education, social studies, agriculture, pre-technical, integrated science, mathematics, under the rationalized curriculum. Remember, rationalized means these are concepts the government had to brought in to reduce the number of learning activities and also to merge the area that were related to prevent or to avoid duplication of concepts in terms of learning areas. So we can see how the 7 came to become the 8, then the 8 became the 9 learning areas, and up to where we are, junior school. So you can see from the beginning, the first level, the second level, and the third level, we have not introduced any new concept. Now, what happens for us to talk about the pathways? For us to talk about the pathways, we at junior school level, and that is the foundation of now that is the background of pathways at junior school level. We are now bringing in the concept of integration. We are merging the learning areas according to the way the concepts are related. And that's how the pathways came to be formed. For us to talk about STEM, we are asking at junior secondary level, which concept, which learning areas have got related concept to move as one to senior school. And that's where you see what is the backbone of STEM. Look at areas such as agriculture, that is a science. Pre-technical studies is a science, not forgetting that pre-technical studies is a rationalized area with 3 learning areas. That is pre-technical itself, computer studies, and business studies. Here, mainly, we are talking about the pre-technical itself and computer studies. Then we have another learning area, integrated science, and then the mathematics. That is the background of STEM at junior secondary level. We are going to be, why am I saying this? Because these learners will be choosing STEM in grade 10. What are we going to consider the children who have the ability in STEM? I'm not talking about interest. I'm talking about the ability here and strength. What are we going to consider? Bearing in mind, STEM is in senior school, and these learners have not yet joined senior school. So what is going to guide us to know the learners that have the strength and the ability to pursue STEM come grade 10? We are going to look at the background or the backbone of the STEM. How are they performing in agriculture? How are they performing in pre-technical studies? How are they performing in computer studies? What is their performance in integrated science and mathematics? Because these learning areas are the ones that are connected with the learning areas in senior school related with STEM. When you come to social sciences, what is the background of social sciences that these children are already doing at grade 9 at junior school level? Talk about English, talk about Kiswahili, religious education, social studies, and business studies. These again form the background of social sciences. Social sciences are pathway. It is not coming from anywhere. It is not coming from heaven. We are asking ourselves, these are the learning areas the learners have been doing. They have got related concept. How are the children performing in these learning areas in junior school level? And these learning areas are the ones that have related concept related to social sciences studies come senior school level. So for us to know the learners who are going to pursue, or the right learners maybe who can be guided and pursue social sciences related careers at junior school level, we are going to look at performance-wise or the abilities-wise and strength-wise. We are going to consider the background. How are they performing in the social sciences related running areas at junior school level, which are outlined there. We talk about art and sports science. The background, we have creative arts and sports. In creative arts, not forgetting, we have the visual arts, we have the performing arts, we have the PE and sports. How are the runners doing in those learning areas at the junior school level before we talk about the pathways at senior school level? So whenever we talk about the concept of pathways, it is good for us to note this is not a new concept. Can we move backwards and we start or we try to relate how this concept of pathways came to be? Not forgetting, when we get to junior school level, the main focus there is exploration. Remember, we started with interaction and with socialization. Then at junior school level, you're talking about exploration. Before we move to senior school level, and senior school level, when we talk about senior school level, I'm talking about specialization or pre-career level. I don't know up to there whether you have some reaction or some comment before you continue. It's always good to read from the same page. But basically, that's what you're talking about. Pathways at senior school level. We are not having a new concept. We are not introducing new concept to these learners, and it is very essential for the teacher in question, for the facilitator in question, for the proprietor and the admins of the schools to have this knowledge, because we are the proponent, we are the pioneers people. We should be on the forefront to explain this concept to these children, because remember, they are joining senior school, they are making choices about senior school, and yet they are not yet in senior school. So how are they going to make the right rational choices for them to make for them to pursue the right careers and succeed in the future? Good. I believe after there, we are okay. Good. The next thing we need to can see there's Maureen. I cannot unmute from my side. Maybe the host can. I can take 2 or 3 questions before I continue. We have Maureen Wanyoni, and we have Thomas, and we have Lucy. Maybe you can start with Maureen.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Can hear you, Maureen?
Okay. Thank you, sir. You've talked about the pathway of social sciences, and you're talking about business as a learning area to look at. Now, we don't have business in the rationalized CBE curriculum. Business studies as a learning area. It is not there.
The rationalized, it is a rationalized in the pre-technical, right?
Yeah, yes.
That's why we are saying it is rationalized at the pre-technical, but when these are pre-technical, the reason why I have stopped to get some reaction is because the 9 learning areas that you're having at junior school level, when they get to senior school level, they will become 38 learning areas. These 38 learning areas, they are directly linked to what the runners were doing in the 9 learning areas at the junior school level. So business will move from being a rationalized area in pre-technical and start on its own as a business studies in social sciences in senior school. That's why I had to mention it. Yes. But it is not an independent.
We can talk about pre-technical still under social sciences. Huh?
Yeah, we can talk about pre-technical still as social sciences in the business, bearing in mind as facilitators or teachers, we have some concept that is being taught there, the business studies concept.
Okay, thank you.
It is true. That one is true.
Okay,
Lucy?
thank you.
Lusekera. Okay, we can move to Kevin. I say I'm going to take 3 questions
Kevin,
before
unmute.
we move on to seniors.
Kevin, unmute.
I was, hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
I was to react to what Madam was talking about. The last round in pre-technical is always entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship is part of business. So it is there in pre-technical. That is what guarantees pre-technical to appear as a social science in the pathways. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thomas Koech, you can get your reaction. I did unmute. Okay, I think
Thomas.
And not forgetting, as we wait for Thomas to unmute, at our center, Gravity, CBC Center, one thing that we have capitalized on is on exposing these learners to senior school. When they come to our center, we ask ourselves, what can we do to make sure that these learners are aware of what is happening in senior school? Because as I said, they are making choices about senior school that they are not aware, and no one has made them aware or aware about. As teachers, do you know what is happening in senior school? Because it is only we who can give insight to these learners before they make the decision, or before they are praised, whether they make the decision or where the government dictates to where they are going to go. It is us, teachers and facilitators, to give them the right insight. The big question is, are we empowered? Do we have the right information about the same? Not forgetting that as changes continue to take place, we should be on the forefront to empower these learners, because they are making about choices of things that they are not doing currently in junior school level. So as a teacher, you and me, we are supposed to ask ourselves, what are we gonna do to make sure that we have the right information to guide these learners accordingly before they get to senior school. And that's why such like discussion and training in our center are very important, so that we can lead from power. As I said earlier on, we work hand in hand with other government education stakeholders, the KICD, the MOE, the KEMI is coming in. We collaborate, because the big question is, we're asking ourselves, what are we going to do for us to have a successful generation of the pioneers of CBE? And we don't have an option. We are the right people on the ground. I can see some reaction about the runners who are going to selection. The discussion is, before you go to the selection question and the like, that it's going to, as I said, it's an open forum. Allow me to talk about the senior school, because I've just introduced the background of senior school on how and how the pathways came to be. Basically, as we talk, we have 3 pathways. We have 3 pathways. The diagram you can see on your screen, you can zoom it from your side, has summarized what transpired, about what transpired from the early years. You can see from the bottom there, the running areas that were there in early years, how they became the 8 running areas in a primary level or in upper primary level, how the 8 came to form the 9, and how the 9 formed the 3 pathways. For those that are asking about the question about the pre-technical, as you can see, pre-technical is cutting across 2, the black and the blue. That means some aspect of it is in social sciences and some aspect of it is in STEM. That is the business part and the pre-technical and the computer studies part. So that's how the 3 pathways came to be. So the backbone or the foundation of pathways is coming all the way in the foundation years, the preschool or the pre-primary level. So we are not talking about new concept here. So let's all first understand that. I've talked about the competencies. I'm not going to talk about that. Those are some of the things that you should ensure that as a teacher, you have them yourself, because it's only after having them, you can be able to equip them. And it is also good to ask yourself, how can one integrate these concepts during the practical running or during the normal everyday running in a classroom system? We have integrated support system. There are other things that are very paramount in CBC. Talk about the pertinent and contemporary issues. These are issues that are affecting the life of these children every day in the common day living. How do you address these issues? Because you are saying CBC is education for life. As teachers, as facilitators, do we take such issues, or do we take the initiative to include these concepts in our everyday concept? You're talking about ICT as a we are talking about ICT, which is a tool that we are using in the learning process. Remember, we have digital literacy, which is a core competency, but ICT here is a tool. It's a tool that is used to implement the other learning areas and other in the learning process. In the learning process, the difference between digital literacy and ICT. Digital literacy is the aspect of the learners being able to use digital enabled tools in the right way to acquire the right information. Whereas ICT, we are talking about using the technology to implement or to help in the process of implementing the CBE. That is a bit of two different concepts. So we have what you're calling integrated support programs, the PCIs, the ICT, and then you have the community service learning, among the others. The key drivers, we discuss about it. We talk about the core drivers, or the key drivers, talk about the domains that we discussed about earlier on. So I believe as we are there, we are at par where the pathways are. Now, we are talking about the three pathways here. We have the STEM, we have social sciences, and we have art and sports. Pathways, as you can see, is a very big, it's like a big house. If you look at one of them, we have the STEM. STEM, we have 3 tracks. We have the 3 tracks at the STEM. Tracks or departments, rather, whereby we have the technical studies, applied sciences, and pure sciences. That means you can be doing STEM, but you are more specialized or specify. You specify on 1 or 2. You don't have to do everything. You have to take the technical studies, the applied sciences, the pure sciences. Those are the 3 tracks at the STEM. Then we have the pathways of social sciences with 2 tracks. One of them is humanities, and the other one is language and literature. Lastly, we have art and sports science, which is the third pathway with 2 tracks. One of them is the art, and the other one is sports science. Then from the tracks, we have the learning areas that are related with each track. Remember, these learning areas under each track are directly connected with the learning areas in junior school. We are not having different learning areas in senior school. For example, let me take STEM, the track of pure sciences. In pure sciences, we have, you can see we have general science, we have mathematics, we have chemistry, we have biology, and we have general science. If you go back to junior school, which learning area was the foundation of these concepts that will be taught in senior school? It is not a new concept. These concepts are mathematics, of course, generally it was there. Mathematics was there. So we are not having a new mathematics in senior school level. When you talk about concepts of physics, chemistry, and biology, these are concepts that were introduced at grade 9 level under the learning area of integrated science and the general science aspect. So these are not new learning areas. And that's why I say the issue of pathways, if you look at it keenly, it's all directly linked together from the foundation. So, and as we're saying, from the 9 learning areas in senior school level, they become the 38. Look at the concept of technical studies. Technical studies, we have the 8 of them. The aviation technology, the power mechanics. We are talking about metal technology, wood technology, marine and fishery. They are the technical studies. Ask yourself a simple question. Which learning area in junior school is directly connected with these 8 new learning areas that are going to be taught at the technical studies in senior school level? If you look closely, the backbone of these 8 learning areas taught at the technical studies directly is related to the pre-technical studies at junior school level. So as a pre-technical studies teacher at junior school level, you should be able to link this and introduce this concept to your runners even before they get to choose. Because there is no way the runners are going to choose concept in senior school if they have not been, if they will not have been oriented in the right way. And it is the work of the junior school teachers. It is the work of us to make this clear to the runners, to link the junior school to the senior school. Look at all the learning areas, just to mention a few. Look at the social, look at the languages and literature, look at the humanities, then link them. You see others linked to business studies, others are linked to English, to the languages, others are linked to social studies, others, all of it. There's no any single learning area in senior school that is not linked with the junior school level. That's why I'm saying the 9 learning areas will give rise to the 38 learning areas in senior school. As we discuss or as we talk, maybe before we get to answer the questions under the message column, it is good to note that at senior school level, irrespective of the runners pursuing or the runners or us having that 8 learning areas, the runners are only going to do 7 as we speak. Allow me to say 7 as we speak because we are having a lot of changes that are taking place. Maybe they are 7. As the times goes by, they may change. But for the purpose of this meeting, we are talking about 7 learning areas. 7 learning areas. Before I talk about the 7 learning areas, as the ones that have been outlined, allow me to invite my CEO, Mr. Duncan Areni, to say one or two things before you continue. Karibu sana bwana CEO.
Yeah, Bwana Duncan, it's your opportunity now to share with us. I think we cannot hear you from your end. Possibly you can see if you are unmuted.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Ivana. And good evening once again. I believe that you're at least getting some insight. And maybe what I wanted to say when we talk about senior school, predominantly senior school is supposed to be a pre-career stage. So we cannot talk about senior schools without talking about careers. And as we talk about the pathways, if there's a word that we need to put in our minds every moment is about careers. What the learners are doing at the end of this year is they're choosing their careers, basically. Even forgetting about the pathways, those learners are choosing careers. And we have to help these learners, we have to be very scientific to help the learners to choose the careers that optimize their ability and interests. And just to to show the reality is if a child or a learner does not do or drops biology, chemistry, and general science at a grade 9, they have no option in future of actually coming back to do anything medical. They can do medical, they can do medicine, they can do nursing, lab technician, anything medical, that's grade 9. So they can't fall back. If a learner drops or doesn't probably do at least good social science, the languages are compulsory, so that's good enough. But what I'm trying to say, and another example I would say is, if a learner wants to be an electrical engineer, in our system, what somebody do is pure science, is do physics and probably mathematics and another science, and they can end up doing electrical engineering. But unfortunately, under CBC or CBE, a learner who does pure science, who chooses to do pure physics and proceeds and goes to the university, will be meeting with a learner who was well advised and chose electrical technology. And I can tell you what will be happening at the universities. The learner who did electrical technology, by the end of over the weekend, will be coming with 10,000 shillings in the pocket. They have done their locum and they have made their money. The other one who did pure sciences will be calling their parent to send them 500 shillings for. And anyway, you cannot put these two learners together.
Bona Duncan, it's like we've lost you.
This is a critical stage. Hello? Are you
Yeah, we
hearing
can
me?
hear you now.
Yeah, I'm saying that's why it's the issue of the decision making on the let's say the careers and the learning areas in senior school is so critical, because it is actually the careers that these learners are choosing. So we should do everything to help the learners to identify their areas of ability, their areas of interest, and then we help them to choose the right learning areas that they need to choose. Because let's not overrate the pathways. We are just overrating sometimes the pathways. What is important and very critical is to have every learner to identify what they want to become in life. And then what are the careers that optimize that ability and interest. And then once we identify that, we can say what are the learning areas that they need to do, that learner needs to do. And then once we identify the learning areas, then we can say, oh, these learning areas fall in this track and also in this path. So I think we should be advising the learners with the end in mind. The other thing I also wanted to share is a lot of jobs, by the way, are in the come from the, like Jogona said, these learning areas are coming from the 9 learning areas. A lot of the learning areas, the jobs that are there come from the pre-technical learning areas, which is giving rise to 10 learning areas in senior school. Pre-technical studies in junior school is giving rise to 10 learning areas in senior school. The business studies, like Madam said, goes to social sciences. We have computer studies that goes to applied science. And then we are left with 8 that fall directly under technical studies. Those 8 of them are aviation technology, media technology, building and construction, wood technology, wood technology, power mechanics, electrical, and marine and fisheries. So one of the things that actually probably we should have done is to give a glimpse of all these learning areas to the learners. Because how can a learner choose marine and fisheries? They don't even know what that one involves, isn't it? So like Gravity CBC Resource Center, we are in the forefront. What we have done is we have actualized most of these learning areas so that when the learners or even teachers come, they are able to have a glimpse of those learning areas so that when they are choosing, then they know, all right, so this is a marine and fisheries, this is aviation technology, this is. So, and that's what Marim Jogona was trying to say. Even the teacher taking integrated science, the learners doing integrated science, that teacher should be able to break it down and say, this is biology part of integrated science, and these are the careers that emanate. So that then the learners make decisions from knowledge, not from ignorance. The teachers also are able to understand. So we, like us, we are practical also models that shows the 5 steps that the learners are supposed to do and the teachers are supposed to do so that they can end up with the right decision on the pathways. So, for those who are, because I'll just check out, I mean, I will give it back to Jogona. Those who have not been to the center, we just want to take the opportunity to also welcome you to come and practically interact with all the learning areas practically, and also including the decision-making modules that we have here. We have a lot of innovations here that help the learners, help the teachers, help the parents. Remember, parents are also co-educators. And actually, the pathway decision is being made by 3. The learner, the teacher, and the parent. It is supposed to be a journey that these 3 should actually have been working, especially the junior school should have been an intentional journey by the 3, trying to assess the ability of each learner, the attitudes, the personality of each learner, the life goals of each learner, and the interests of each learner, so that now you are able to optimize all those and identify which of those careers that the learner will optimizes all those for each learner, and then you try to help them to make that decision. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I'll give it back to Jogona. I believe because of time, we probably would be taking a few questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bono Director, for the insight. I believe you are good. I will start by echoing what my senior has said, that senior school is a pre-career level. We are calling pre-career levels to specialization stage. As we all know, the word pre means before. So, but we're asking ourselves a simple question. These learners are in their pre-career level. The next level will be the tertiary level, or maybe going directly into the world of work in some of these tracks. Can you hear me kindly?
Yeah, Mike, we were losing you, but you are back. You are back. Eh? We can hear you well now.
Thank you. My question is, how will these learners make choices about the learning areas at senior school level that are related to their careers if these learners do not know about the careers in first? And that was the question the director was talking about. It is like starting with the end in mind. We can only expose these learners to the careers that are there and what is needed for the learners to do, or which learning areas are related with the careers for the learners to make the right choices before they get at senior school. Is that I want to become an accountant. At juniors, at accountant, what do I need for me to become an accountant? I require maybe business studies, I require mathematics, and maybe I need the languages. For example, to say, do I know which pathways is related or connected with these learning areas? And then back to junior school level, how am I performing in these particular learning areas? We can only start with the end in mind, but not just joining a pathway or a track related to a certain particular pathway for me to pursue a career. I will never get to my destiny, or I never get to my dream career. So the runners need to be exposed into the world of careers, what is needed for those careers, and then the right tracks, the right pathways until they come back to where they are. That's what you're saying. Senior school is a pre-career level. The runners after that they just specialize and take a unique path that will lead them to their dream career. Not forgetting again, it is good for us also to ask ourselves why the pathways then. If you remember the vision and the mission. The mission was talk about nurturing every learner's potential. For the runners to go to senior school, it has taken them 11 years. There were the 5 years in the early years. There were the 3 years in the primary level. There were the 3 years in junior school level. So 3 plus 5, 11 years. Why 11 years? It is, they had to take the 11 years for the facilitators or for the parents to have a clear or a precise look for them to identify the potentials of these learners clearly before they make the decision of where these learners need to be placed. Is it true that Mary has a talent or has an ability in music since the early years? Is the music still consistent at primary level? When I go to junior school level, is the music talent and ability and the strength in this girl who started showing these potentials at early years still exist? If that is the truth, then if that is possible, then let this girl called Mary pursue art and sports and maybe performing arts and maybe in the world of music and the right. That's why you're taking a lot of time, 11 years, for us to have a closer look, for us to make a closer follow-up in these learners. And that is one of the big questions that I'm asking myself. These children are graduating to grade 10, sorry. Have we done that? Are we going to make the right decision? Are we going to involve all the components? Are the parents involved? Are the learners themselves involved? Are we as teachers? Have we given the right insight? Have we given the right guidelines? Are we ourselves empowered to guide these learners to make the right choices? Maybe as we continue, should be some of the questions that we should be asking ourselves as we continue with this discussion. I can see a few hands raised up. Maybe I can take 3 reactions before you continue to discuss more about senior school.
Yeah, sure, Mike. I think this is in order. You can take perhaps three questions before we proceed. And perhaps we can start with James Thiongo, whose hand is up. Then we also take Farah Ahmed in that order. Then perhaps we could also pick on another one from a lady. Maybe Aquila, you can help us identify. Also, a lady was a question from the plenary, so that Mike answers in that order. Lucy, yes, Madam Lucy, in that particular order. So over to you, Mike.
Okay, we can get the first reaction from James. You're most welcome.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
I have a question on subject combination.
Yes.
The list from the ministry have around 571 subject combinations.
Yes.
So how do we go about that? And how do we get the schools that are offering those specific subject combinations? Thank you.
Thank you. What I'll tell you, James, is okay, there are a lot of changes that are taking place. And as you speak, the government is true, have released a document of the combination of this subject. Remember, we said at junior school level, at senior school level, sorry, the learners are currently, the guidelines, the outside here that we have is the runners are going to do 7 learning areas, out of which 4 of them are compulsory. The 3 of them are electives. They are going to select 3 that are going to pursue in senior school that will take them to into their tertiary level, into their world of work. Your question is, how is the runner going to select the 3 learning areas? Or how is the runner going to determine? Is it this, maybe, pardon, I don't know whether it is the school or the 3 learning area, because the 3 learning areas are already set. So it's upon the runner to identify the 3 learning areas, then identify the school offering the 3 learning areas, maybe, and make a selection about the school for him or her to be selected or to be considered for selection in that particular school for him to pursue the learning areas that will take him or her to his or her dream career as he or she graduates in the tertiary level and in the world of work. But the 3 learning areas released is just a guideline. It is upon the runner or the runner, the teacher, and the parent to know which are the strengths of the runner, where are the abilities of the runner, where are the learning areas based with the abilities and the strength of these runners. But before then, the runner must have identified the careers. Then from the career, he or she take the combination of the learning areas, then take the pathways, the track, and the child is good to go. But the 3 learning areas currently as we speak, I concur with you. I've seen such a document of the 3 combined learning areas that the runners are going to take at senior school level. I don't know whether I've answered your question or one way or the other. Bwana James.
Over to you, James.
Yes.
Or if James is okay. Yes, James?
Yes, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, James.
Julius.
Farah.
Thank you, sir.
Or Ahmed.
Yes, sir, I can hear you well. Thank you very much, our facilitator. And I just want to know more about what my brother has just asked. I think that question has been answered. But please, I think from where we are now, we are okay. Please, can we move on and move to selection subjects? That is where the problem is. And grade 10, how we can help learners select those combined subjects. Thank you.
Thank you for that. The last question was from Aredi.
Yeah, it was from Lucy.
You can always log in our websites, YouTube, for more insights about all these concepts.
Lucy.
You can also reach us through our contacts. We are going to share our contacts to the screen. So for any further inquiry, feel free to contact KEMI and Gravity.
Yeah, Mike, we had a question from Lucy. I hope Lucy is aware. Or we could also take up another person who is ready with a question in the interest of time.
Miriam, then we have one gentleman.
My name is Miriam.
Yes, Miriam.
My question is, we have tried to select school with, with our learners, but anytime we try to log in into the site, it is said that it's only your school is not recognized as a senior school.
Okay.
What could be the problem, and which schools are offering which combination, subject combinations? How do we know that? Which schools are offering which subject combinations?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe. Thank you. Maybe I can answer that. I think there has been a problem with the website of the website. There has been a problem with the website. So one thing we all appreciate is that I think there's a lot of pressure to really finalize things, and there's a lot of rush. So I can assure you, where I think there's a problem with the logging in sometimes. So I think you just have to keep on doing that. About the schools, I think until all the schools have selected their learning areas that they are offering, I don't think currently you're able to choose, because all the schools should have, and that information should be available. So I think, as Jugona said, there's a lot that is happening. There could be changes that are coming in. Like currently, if I'm sure none of us here is able to say if the learners are taking seven learning areas, and now apparently since mathematics is also compulsory, will be compulsory, and yet we already add 4 compulsory learning areas. So if we take mathematics now, we add mathematics, that will make it 5. So there are only 2 options. Either they increase the learning areas to 7 to 8, or reduce one of the compulsory learning areas, Technically, that is what it means. But that direction has not come. I'm sure none of us here can really.
Yeah, sure. You are right. You are right, Duncan. You are right.
So there's a lot that is still in the background. So we all have to keep alert to get clarification as things are unfolding. And so when you find some hiccups here, or there's something, there are things that you should be out there, checking out to make sure that as soon as we get the right information, then we are able to help the learners.
I believe, Miriam, you have answered your question. One or the other is that delay in terms of website, but that can only come from the government side. But I think we have the right people there who are doing the right thing to ensure that everything runs smoothly. These things have been there even in the logging in of marks. Sometimes the website delays, maybe because of too many people, maybe because of some other internal reasons, but all will be well. We are liaising with the right people in the same. We can only wait for the further guidelines pertaining the same. You can take another question. Maybe Christine. Christine Oranga.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, our facilitator Njuguna. My name is Christine Oranga. I'm calling you from Vihiga County. Now, my question is just straight. The 3 electives, did they come from one pathway?
Not really. That question will take us to a different, maybe dimension of our discussion about the number of pathways that the school will be offering, which is still not clearly deliberated. About the 3 pathways, the school offering the 3 pathways, and the other offering the 2 pathways. The triple school pathways and the double. But I believe the guidelines have been there. Maybe we can share with you later, but it has not. The pathways are cutting across according to the way they have been combined. They are cutting across. You get a child who is doing maybe art and sports, but we have a new learning area, one learning area in social sciences. But I believe it will be within the limits of what the school in question is offering. If the school is able to offer the 3 pathways, I believe the learning areas can cut across the 3. If the school is offering the 2 pathways, which is the bottom minimum, maybe STEM and social sciences, the learning areas will cut across the 2.
Actually, just to add what Jugona is saying, I have the document here, right? We have the document right in front of us here. And actually, you can see as a combination like sports and recreation, general science, fasihi ya Kiswahili. See, that one cuts across the 3 pathways. Sports
and recreation is art and sports.
Yeah, general
biology is in
sports and recreation, general science, and geography.
Yeah,
that's the three pathways.
Those are the three pathways. So it depends on the school in question and what the pathway the school in question is offering. Maybe it's offering the three of them. There is that room for the running areas to cut across the three pathways. If the school is offering the bottom minimum of the two, the social sciences and the STEM, or the social science, or the STEM and art and sports science, the running areas will be limited by the number of the pathways that a given school is offering, according to what we have from the ministry. Remember, we are saying chances are changes may take place, but as we speak, that's what we have.
I think we know that's what they said. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we are good to go. Thank you for the reaction. I can see we are all making a closer follow-up and look about the same. Maybe before we move on to the others, it's also good to know that the overview of the pathways at senior school, maybe we have not mentioned this. There is that aspect of the three pathways, but according to the guidelines given, that is that 60% of the runners in our junior school, when they get to senior school, they will be taken under the STEM school, or they'll be taken to do careers or running areas related to STEM. Because as my director said, it is projected that most of the careers are related to STEM. Remember, this was one of the reasons why CBC, or currently according to CBE, was brought on board. That in the years to come, according to Vision 2030, the economy of Kenya will be more projected into industrial and technological field or world. So the government had to come with a way or with an initiative to train the citizen towards the achievement of the vision. That is, it had to come with a way of training the citizen with STEM-related skills and qualification that are going to work in the STEM-related world. That's why the STEM pathway is taking the 60%. Art and sports science, as you can see, it is taking the rest, 15%. Then social sciences pathway, we will take 25% of the runners in our current junior school level. So that's how the distribution, as we speak, was projected. But you never know, as we are saying, changes may be there. But as we speak, we have 60% of the runners projected to take STEM, 25% to take social sciences, and 15% to take art and sports. We were to discuss about the pathways. That is my last bit of the pathways. We need to get to know why STEM, why social sciences, why art and sports. What do we want to achieve? What are the core objectives of the runners taking art and sports? What do we want to achieve when we direct the runners toward the pathways of social sciences, getting about the STEM? So as you can see from your screen, that's what we want to achieve as a country towards the country projecting its learners towards the pathways. Back to the chair. I want to stop.
Thank you, Mike.
That. Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
I think Mike. Yeah, I think Mike. Perhaps to ensure that at least we get some feedback from our participants. At this point, perhaps we could also give them an opportunity as well. I can see the number of hands that I have are still high. And I would suggest like we give them an opportunity like for around 4 of them. Then we wind up kindly. So Aquila, perhaps you could identify from amongst those participants who have raised up their hands, at least 4 of them, just to raise up their concerns. And then of course, we also get feedback from mic as well. Over to you, Aquila.
We can start with Delis Morero.
All right, thank you so much. This is Dennis from Logos Christian School Limuru. And thank you, our facilitator, for taking us so well about the pathways. And my concern is this. We have learners who doesn't know what career they want to take in life. They don't know what they want to pursue in future. How can we guide them on selection of these pathways? Number two, if they select a pathway and later in future or after some time they lose interest in the same, do we have allowance or do we have time for them to change or drop and pick another one? Thank you so much.
Allow me to give my director a chance to react on the first question. A learner who is not certain about the career to take in grade 9 and yet grade 10 is coming.
Let me say this. Thank you so much. We have to help the learner to know what they want to be in life. That one, there's no shortcut. That's why the teacher and the parents are also called, they are called decision makers. The three of them should be able to identify because every learner, there's something that they can do best. So the teacher needs to actually, and the parent, they need to, by the way, and I can share from my own experience, I brought up my children under such a curriculum, competence-based, and the time I interacted most with my teachers was during the decision-making. In fact, I would say that
yes, Bonadan, we have lost you. We have.
How will they take?
Okay, I was saying, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Bonadan.
The teacher should actually, the parents should interact more with the teachers and the learner, the three of them trying to identify the ability and the interest of this learner so that they can identify. Because nobody can do it other than the three. The other, so that one, it is, if as a teacher, it is your obligation to be able to organize interactions with the parent of the child or the learner, and also the learner, so that you can be able to help that learner. Secondly, you asked about being able to change. And I give you a practical example. I told you if a learner drops out doing biology, chemistry, and mathematics, for instance, at grade 10, then if you are to get at general science, and if you are to do medical, anything medical, you'd have to come back. You get to grade 12, you have to come back to grade 10 again and start all over. That's how critical it is for the right decision at this point in time. So there is not that much flexibility actually. That's why the learners should be encouraged to do things, because it's not as easy. It will not be as easy. Of course, you can struggle, but it will not be as easy as our system and your system. Because for us, we did most of these things up to Form 4. So even if we didn't do well, we can use, we can fall back into something. So that's how critical it is that the learners should be properly guided. Because if they choose the wrong combination, one, I can tell you, if the teachers and the parent and the learner are not able to identify that this combination is not right for this learner, they will not realize when the learner is in grade 10. They will not realize. If they would realize now, they will not realize in grade 10. Probably in grade 11, they will think that the learner is gotten into bad habits and is not, so you have to work and all that. Without knowing that actually the problem was that the learner chose the wrong combination. By the time you realize the learner is already in grade 12, you realize now this learner is even so frustrated because they took the wrong thing. They did take the wrong make the wrong choice of combination of subjects of learning areas. So that's actually how critical it is, that it is so easy to say that choosing is very easy. If you have here three options, you can choose. You can even close your eyes and choose, and But what are you going to do with the choices you have made? If you choose those three learning areas, what are you going to do with them? So that's why we are saying, and for us, if you are able to come to this center, I'm telling you, you can be able to understand all these things we are talking about practically, not theoretically, practically. So that when you're advising the learners, when you're advising the parents, a lot of schools have even been bringing the parents here so that they can be able to even understand when we're talking about this decision making. We even have practical models, 5 steps that the learner should choose practically, not theoretically, so that by the time they are making their choice, they have assessed themselves. We even have a personality test that is actually localized, because, by the way, we underestimate the power of personality as a test and as an assessment. Let's say assessment, because if you wanted to be a doctor, for instance, other than being able to being good in chemistry and biology, if I can say that, you need apathy. Apathy is not a learning area. It is a personality aspect. That's why you have doctors. You walk into a clinic and the doctors, he does not even look at you. They start asking you questions and they are writing something. At the end of the day, they ask you, when did you travel? They just give you a tuition, 2 days, 5 days a week. After 14 years, come back. No, there is no apathy. There is no communication skills, because those are personality. Some of those are personality. And by the way, you can improve on performance, but you can't improve on personality because it is inherent. So these are some of the things that you should be considering so that you help the learner. In fact, for me, choosing the school is not a problem. You can even go to Alliance School, for instance. Everybody, each of us, even we always wanted to go to the Alliance on Mangul. But you can go to Alliance and Mangul. If you go and do the wrong choice, you have wasted that learner. You had better even go to a school, a Butu school in the village, and go and do your best combination that optimizes your interest and ability. I think I cannot say anything less than that. Thank you.
That is true. Thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Perhaps because of time, we could quickly get to, and then of course we make some winding up remarks. Aquila.
Okay, Mercy Wanjiru. As Mercy unmutes, I can read one question. Oh, okay. Mercy, continue.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah,
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you for having us this evening. I actually had 2 questions. Coming back to the subjects, when you're talking about the pre-technical studies, I really didn't get, when you're talking about pre-technical being in social science, how is it supposed to be in social science where else it is also supposed to be in STEM? And the other one is when you're talking about now the compulsory subjects. I thought I saw a document talking about the community service learning not being compulsory in grade 10. That was my question.
Thank you, Mercy. I'll react from the first question. We say pre-technical studies is a rationalized learning area at junior school level. A combination of the learning areas, the business studies, the pre-technical itself, and computer science. The reason why it is falling under 2, it is forming the backbone of two pathways is because when it gets to senior school, two running areas from pre-technical are related to STEM. That is the computer studies and the pre-technical. One of them, which is rationalized at the junior school level, that's business studies. At senior school level, we'll move from, we go away. It's like we'll split. It will not be a part of the STEM. So pre-technical will split. In junior school, it is one, but it is forming the backbone of three running areas at senior school level. One of them is business studies, which will go to social sciences. And the other two are computer science or computer studies and pre-technical, which will follow under STEM. That's why it is falling under two, forming a backbone of two pathways by the fact that it is rationalized. I don't know whether I've answered your question.
Yeah, you have. Thank you.
Yeah,
The next one.
Yeah, the next one I can answer. Remember, we said that there's a lot that is happening, eh?
Yeah.
About the community service learning, there are conversations that probably community service learning will not be an accessible subjects, but will be removed from the compulsory. And not just that, there could be even physical education. So that's why I said, I mean, let's not, for us, we can't commit because, you know, we can only say of what is there. If there's a document that you have that says that that has been removed, please go ahead. Because we wait for direction from the Ministry of Education, isn't it? But there are a lot of changes. I can tell you that could be in the background. So even whatever is there, don't just be out there to get any new updates. Yeah, like I'm telling you, probably you wake up tomorrow and physical education is removed from there. But I think the critical thing is just keep yourself updated. We also don't know a lot, and we are not here to say that we are experts or anything. You know, we are all trying to help each other. You know, I think that's what I can say.
Yeah, the bottom line depends from the ministry, and we follow the directive from them. So as director is saying, there's a lot of discussion that is going on about the running areas, about the clustering of school, about the selection criteria. We can only wait for the right guidelines from the right.
So I tend to think that you are saying it is not safe for any school to begin the selection as per now, before the directives.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The directive
thank you.
have to come first for the schools to make the selections.
Okay, thank you.
So from our live stream, we got a question from Mercy Nyakio. She asked, how will teachers help learners who don't know what careers they want and they don't want what you suggest either?
In the PCI, maybe if I try to react on that, we have one, the learner support program. And one of the things that should take place at junior school level is there should be a career guidance, either coming from us teachers, coming from parents, but a school should have a career personnel or career expert who should be able to take the runners through this, because we cannot say that a runner does not know what to do. What I think the runner is lacking, the runner is unbiased. The runner maybe is having maybe some potential in STEM, maybe in social sciences, all in art and sports, but he or she has not decided where he or she wants to, or where he wants to go in life. So I think that's where us as experts, as a career coach and the other expert as parents, we should come in and help this runner, because we cannot say the runner is helpless, that the runner does not belong anywhere. We have that aspect of the career guidance and counseling or career guidance at junior school level before these runners pursue. And again, the aspect of exposure. Have we exposed this learner enough to the careers that are there, that exist, even to try to stimulate interest in this child? But we cannot say all is gone or all is helpless. My take.
Just to add to what Jugona is saying, you know, we are worried about grade 9, isn't it? Meanwhile, grade 8 is around the corner, isn't it? Grade 7 is around the corner. Grade 6, all these are, all they from grade 1. That's why Mwalimu Juguna started saying the pathway starts from grade 1. We should start preparing these learners all the way, because if we did the right thing right from grade 1, exposing the learners, by the time they reach grade 7, each of the learners will even be knowing where they are going. So meanwhile, as we are sorting out the issues of grade 9, we should be preparing the others so that they don't come and then we have a similar situation like we have. Why we are saying for sure we may not have exposed the grade 9 learners. Like now we are saying, how can the learner in grade 9 choose marine and fisheries? How can they choose? They can choose. How can a grade 9 learner, even the teachers who took the grade 9, grade 9 or junior school teachers, they taught integrated science without knowing that actually the learners will be choosing biology. So at every lesson, they should have been breaking it down so that they would just say, by the way, this is biology, so that by the time a learner is saying, I will choose biology and not chemistry, they can differentiate. But currently, maybe the grade 9 learners, if you take them to a integrated lesson, a learning area lesson, you ask them, is this chemistry or biology? Maybe some of them may not even differentiate, or most of them may not even differentiate. They will not even tell you whether this is chemistry or biology. That tells you there's a problem. So it has to start with the teachers. That's why teachers, you need to equip yourselves. You need to equip yourselves. You need to know where you're taking these learners so that at every step, no, you are preparing these learners for careers. Relate what they are learning to the world of work. And when you come to the center, by the way, we have a practical, model that you work practically, interacting with all those until you get to the world of work, so that you can understand when you're actualizing it, you can understand exactly what you're doing with the learner, step by step, precept upon precept, stone upon stone, until you get to the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think in the interest of time, I think this discussion, we may not really be able to really stop it because it's quite exciting, quite insightful, a lot of course, inquiries. Perhaps we could even find time for some more discussions in the near future. But participants, we really want to take this time to really thank all of you for finding time. I want to appreciate our guest speakers, Bwana Mike and Bwana Duncan, our collaborators from Graviton CBE Center. So I think we have had quite a very fruitful discussion. And I want to appreciate the participants, my colleagues, the Graviton Center for finding time for this public forum. It actually, we would say we've started a journey and we would like to organize for more forums where we could still continue sharing insights on the gaps that are related to CBE, and especially as we try to walk the journey of actualizing the various, of course, levels of our competency-based education in Kenya. So colleagues, in the interest of time, I think our meeting was supposed to be coming to an end at 7:30, and it is exactly 1 minute past that time. We would not like to really engage you past this because we know we had invited you for an evening, and you have also to attend to your other duties. Perhaps I could request that Duncan and Mike share their numbers in the chat forum to enable our participants, of course, have a linkage of trying to really further this discussion, or those who would like to possibly visit the center would also organize with you for that. So I can even see from the chat forum, they are already requesting for your numbers. I think those who looked into the invite that we shared in our in many various platforms, you could also reach out to me via my official email, which is mkisilu@kemi.ac.ke. So we would really appreciate if Mike and Duncan, you share your numbers to allow the participants still interact with you, because the questions are so many. We may not be possibly in at this point, we may not practically handle all of them because of time, but we would wish to say that we will share the recording and you'll be able to really follow it up, even online and in our YouTube channel. So we appreciate the comments. The compliments in the chat forum are so amazing. We really appreciate your very polite, of course, sentiments and of course compliments about this, and we will be looking forward to further engagement as we continue walking the journey in the education landscape. So thank you so much, colleagues. Thank you so much, our guest speakers. Thank you so much, my colleagues, for finding time to journey with us during this particular virtual forum. And asanteni sana, our participants. We will keep you informed. We will share this recording in our various forums. So asante sana, and see you another time. Thank you very much. So perhaps Bwana Duncan and Mike, you could share your parting shot as we come to a close of our session tonight.
Thank you so much, Martin. We are quite passionate about CBE because it prepares our learners for the current and the future. And every time we think of a way that we can change the attitude and be problem solvers. Because we realize most of the time, people identify 1,000 problems and 0 solutions. And yet we are teaching our learners, we are equipping them with problem-solving skills. So we want to challenge every education stakeholder to look for ways of solving problems, and especially when it comes to education, so that we can actually we can equip our learners to be able to create the world that they deserve. So with that, I want to welcome you all, those who have not been to Gravity Center, CBC Center. We have a center along the Eastern Bypass and the one in Langata, where we have actualized the entire curriculum, including gamification of learning and use of digital tools to show and expose our learners, because our learners are not children of a lesser God. We believe people from outside there, from the West, would come and benchmark what our learners is also going through. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Duncan. Perhaps, Mike, you could also give your parting shot.
Thank you, Mr. Martin, the chair. Mine is to echo what my director said. It is time to look for solution. We have had 9 years of implementing this CBC. Everyone has been outside here complaining. The time is over. The time for complaints is over. We better start asking for solution, because no one else is coming to save this ship. We are the people, we are the right people, and something has to be done. So on the other hand, I'd like to thank you and KEMI at Raj for seeing it worthy to host such meetings or such discussion. Maybe the right time is here. I was asking myself when I look at the comments, when I hear the questions, how I wish such like discussion could have came earlier, so that we try to put our minds together to look for a solution
these problems. So mine is to thank everyone who was attending the meetings. We have had our discussion. Maybe moving forward, I would like such like forums to have such maybe regular forums monthly for us to discuss issues with the same. Changes are taking place every day. Let's keep abreast with these changes. Let's consult each other. If you need to visit our center, we visit our center. We have shared our numbers in the chat. Kindly feel free to call and consult further. Thank you very much, and maybe you have a good evening.
Thank you, Mike, for that parting shot. And perhaps at this point, I would like also to welcome Deputy Director in charge of training, Dr. Stephen Barkwang, to also say, also to put across some remarks on behalf of the KEMI management. Over to you, Dr. Stephen Barkwang. Daktari.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for moderating and thank you for this forum. I want to thank the management of Gravity and the facilitator, Mr. Michael Njuguna. I also want to appreciate the participants because it is close to 4,000 participants who have actually joined this, and it is overwhelming. And I want to thank the Gravity and the management, particularly the CEO. Thank you for articulating into those issues. You realize this is an area that was having a gap, and the way you've addressed, actually there is clarity, and possibly next forum we might also have another one so that we might join hands together with the Ministry of officials, the NEC, the KICD, and the ministry, those who are charged with this, particularly the pathways and the guidelines into transitioning to senior school. So otherwise, you are actually doing great work, the Gravity, and we want to appreciate your cooperation and partnership with KEMI. And KEMI, we had an opportunity of visiting you, and surely today has been a moment that we can appreciate, that we can now share with the world and get to know the kind of things that you are doing, and that even the partners that are joining you can also appreciate that you are doing great. We may not be able to reward you, but the kind of things that you do and also making and building lives, because those souls, the young souls that you are really guiding and preparing for them, no one can be able to pay you, but God alone will be able to pay you. But as KEMI, we want to appreciate you on behalf of the management. You've been really a partner, that you have shared the information, and the information which is real time, because at this moment, there is a preparation of transitioning to junior school to senior school, and that information is very important. What would only require you, because I've been following through, that the diagram that you are displaying, the 3 pathways, is not very clear, but we can be able to have it and we share in our website so that the participants can be able to benefit, because that clarity is very, very important for them to make informed decisions. Because at the moment, it is critical that most of the comprehensive schools really require that information that you've shared today, because the parents, the teachers, and even the management of the schools may not be having that particular information that you have. But the little you have shared possibly will shed some light so that this information can be able to enable them, so that they can be able to help them to guide the learners because the learners are at a critical point to make a decision, to choose a career that will be able to make them proceed and progress, not looking back again, because you ended that if you make a mistake at a particular point, then it is going to be a mistake that can be costly to the lives of the learners, that they can be able to not come back and retrace the track again of the career pathway. So the decision now, the information we get now, the information you've shared is very important. So we want to appreciate you on behalf of management and on behalf of our CEO, on behalf of our directors. We want to thank you and we want to thank the participants who showed interest in this and joining. And we never let down because we gave everyone an opportunity to interact. The next point is to share the records that of the facilitation of the proceedings so that they can benefit more. Otherwise, thank you so much. I want to appreciate you and thank Martin for that opportunity, although it was a such a short notice because I was not aware. However, I think I've made also my point clear. Thank you so much and be blessed. My name is Dr. Stephen Parkwang, Deputy Director Training, and I want to appreciate you and thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. for your remarks. We also appreciate colleagues. I want to say that we are grateful. This was done as part of corporate social responsibility under the Directorate of Research, under the leadership of Dr. Joyce Kiruma, with the blessings of the CEO of KEMI. And we would, our intention was actually to share insights about the CBC Career Pathways to all the school leaders that are within our reach. And I want to announce that this was so amazing. We were able to really have over 4,000 participants on board. We were actually live streaming so that we can cater for those who are outside the Zoom room. And we want to appreciate that they were able to follow and we were able to really give some insights to all of us who expressed interest during this very session. Now that, of course, we have also your request on perhaps how KEMI could organize other sessions, we will still look into this. And once, of course, we plan for this, we will be able to put you on board and invite you for such sessions in the near future. Let me appreciate our facilitators for tonight, and I want to thank you for finding time out of your very busy schedule. It was short notice also to put you on board in this particular program, and you're able to put up issues together and find time. To all of us, thank you very much. I want to wish you a good evening and all the best. Asanteni sana. We may now leave at our own pleasure.